So we live in a really interesting time where there's more people alive than have ever been alive before, and the technologies that have been created in the last few decades even have really impacted the way that we interact. And I think media plays a large part in the changing of our culture and the way that we interact with one another. And now, media can be a variety of things. It can be anything from like experiencing the world through sensory experiences like taste and touch, or it can be technologies like the internet and like books and telephones and things like that. But even things like language are a medium that shape the way you see the world. And I think language is one of the most prominent media because it not only marks you as part of a group by placing you with the people that speak the way you do and that you understand, but it also shapes the way that you see the world through the expressions that you use and the words that you use, and it also kind of shapes your identity. So it's really interesting to see what happens when you remove that identity, because on the internet there's nothing to tie you physically to the personas that you create online. And it's very different from the first way of communicating where you talked face to face. Now on the internet you're in the midst of this vast cyberspace place that we haven't quite figured out how to interact in yet. We're still kind of learning, but instead of talking to you, I'm sitting by myself here in my kitchen talking to a camera and looking at my computer. I'm sitting in front of this little screen and I'm isolated from the rest of the world. So there's kind of infinite possibilities for connection in cyberspace, but it's still an inherently isolating medium. And so internet users have tried to come up with different ways of connecting in that medium. And I think on a lot of sites like 4chan.org and different anonymous forums where you can go on and post whatever you want because there's nothing to tie you to the things that you say. I think that the responses and the language that are used there say a lot about us as a culture, and at first thought that might be kind of scary because a lot of the things that show up there are racist slurs, they're derogatory things, obscene pictures, juvenile humor, and it might be totally disgusting and confusing to look at the first time. But I think that we recognize that in this vast cyberspace where there are thousands of people posting on the same forums that you use, that you have to say something that's going to stand out in order to elicit a reaction that confirms your existence and your importance in that context. And I think that saying things like enjoy your AIDS or like using racial slurs are just ways basically to get attention and to have your opinions and your ideas validated. It's not necessarily a way to reach out and connect with people, but it's a way in that kind of vast place that we're still trying to figure out how to connect within, that you say something that sparks a reaction from somebody else and validates your existence. And so there are other tamer examples of this as well, like leet-speak and lolcats, which are basically sub-languages that arise on the internet based on things that users of the internet share and will understand and reference back and forth. And I think this is where a lot of internet memes come from, because you get things like the lol what pair and longcat, and these things that if you see a picture of them or you look at them, there's not a history behind them, there's not a whole lot of meaning contained in that entity. But in the creation of how these things became popular, there's a lot of interaction among forum users, and there's a lot of rapport there and an understanding of how the forum works, and just the way that these things, however silly or simple they might be, get repeated over and over. It's kind of a way of connecting in these online forums. And so I don't think that necessarily the meaning of the meme is the important thing, but how it's created is a way of manipulating this inherently isolating medium to find new ways to connect. And it's a way of using the media rather than letting it use us.
Catalysts to say what has never been said, to see what has never been seen, to draw, paint, sing, sculpt, dance, and act what has never before been done, to push the envelope of creativity and language. And what's really important is, I call it the felt presence of direct experience, which is a fancy term which just simply means we We have to stop consuming our culture. We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR. Create your own road show.